What is up, guys? Scott with Never Hedge, and we are just about to go right into the Emax Live Telegram AMA. So, without further ado, let's get right into that.
All right, let's get this going. Gio, you just want to make sure you are with us.
With us.
Nice. All right. Welcome, Telegram community. Today is Tuesday, July 6th. Welcome to our weekly Telegram call. Thank you very much for joining. You're with myself, Steve, and Gio, and we also have a special guest tonight that I think everyone's going to be really excited about. So more to come on that shortly. Just before we get into things, just our weekly reminder that these are just thoughts of our own and for informational purposes only. Nothing that we say constitutes financial advice, accounting, legal advice, any of that stuff. So with that said, I really want to get into this. Justin, are you also with us?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we could. Awesome.
Hear you, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. So this is one of the reasons why it makes a lot of sense to be on time to these things. So we wanted to come out of the gates tonight with some really exciting news. So we wanted to introduce to you Justin, aka Relic, who's going to be joining us this evening. Justin's role at Emax is head of development. He is the founder of Polar Labs, a cryptocurrency research and development team that has led several projects already within the crypto space that are integrated into the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Justin and his development team specialize in cryptocurrency, blockchain, Web 3.0, Ethereum, fintech, decentralized applications, Solidity-based smart contracts. Obviously, a little bit of everything that's super fundamental to our space. So, without further ado, I just wanted to introduce Justin. Justin, if you want to, introduce yourself a little bit. Hopefully, I didn't take too much of your fire. But why don't you introduce yourself to the Emax community?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Justin. I have the founder of Polar Fox Labs, who is the team behind Akita Network and DreamSwap, and also Polar Fox Dex, which is launching on Avalanche soon. So my friends told me about Emax, I think it was 6 weeks ago or something like that, and I was really excited to hear what everything was in store. And then my brother-in-law actually introduced me to the admins here, and I kind of just made it a priority to integrate with them as soon as possible and get some ideas out there for what I think could possibly be an awesome collaboration between our two groups. And yeah, so I took Akita from a $100,000 market cap in the beginning of February to we reached almost $3 billion on April 20th. We ran with the other dog coins, but it was kind of a cool story. So Akita got rug pulled at the beginning of February. I think it was February 1st to be exact. And, the community was flailing and a lot of people were leaving. And I took the opportunity to hold the community together, and I let them know that we were going to build something real out of it. And we weren't just going to let the community die. So we took Akita from basically that point with absolutely no funding and no marketing, built everything completely organically from the ground up, to what it is now, which is still, after this massive dog coin crash, we're still holding about $200 million market cap. And we're releasing our first project integration in a few weeks here, which will be our decentralized exchange on the Avalanche blockchain. And I really think that I can do a lot of positive stuff for Emax as well, as far as building up the roadmap with these guys, finishing the white paper, which I see you guys are really, really eager to see. Obviously, everyone's invested in the project and they want to know what's going on. And I can assure you that we are definitely going to get you guys some documentation as soon as possible, but we're just going to need a little bit of time to get all of the plans sorted out.
Awesome. I think I speak for everyone, Justin, when I say we're super excited to have you on the team. I know we just started recording this, at least on Telegram, so just a quick recap. We just introduced Justin, aka Relic, as Emax's new head of development, has an extensive background on cryptocurrency, blockchain, Ethereum, Web 3.0. all the stuff needed to make a successful cryptocurrency token. So we're super pumped to have him on the team. We think he's really going to help bring the vision of Emax, our grand idea, making our audacious plans a reality in terms of development and execution. We've been speaking to Justin for a couple weeks now. So this hasn't been just a random thing. It's been I don't know if I want to say extensive process, but we've definitely done our due diligence. I've had a lot of conversations. So we are super excited to have you on board, Justin. So welcome.
Appreciate it, guys. I'm happy to be here to help.
So we're gonna like we keep on saying, we're gonna make a lot of these AMAs a little bit more tech based. Justin's gonna be a big part of that, but we do have a chock full of information for this AMA. So let's get right into it. So we are going to be reformatting our Telegram for additional security very soon. So we've been listening to a lot of the concerns of our Emax holders in the community regarding Telegram and its potential security risks. And unfortunately, the amount of scammers that are actively ready to scam not only our holders but just the crypto community as a whole, it's becoming outrageous. You guys hear me talk about it in a very frustrated tone almost on a weekly basis. So with the increase in scam attempts mixed with like the concerns about bots, we've decided to make a change. So we have some really good ideas about security features and how we're going to be implementing them soon. Obviously we can't keep 100% of the scams and threats and bots away, but we're confident that what we will be rolling out will protect our community much better from being vulnerable. So we don't want to really share too much information. Let's assume that there's a scammer even on this call, so that they could prepare for it. But just so you know that the safety of our holders is utmost important. And when we do announce these changes, it's going to be an official announcement on all of our platforms, Telegram, Discord, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We know that there's going to be a lot of questions with this, but rest assured when we do reformat everything, it's going to be for everyone's best interest. So during that time, if you do have any questions, you can always submit one online at our website, or open a ticket, or even chat with our chat bubble. So I'm super excited about that because as of late, our Telegram, we have a really strong core following, and then we just have some scammers, some bots in there that kind of just ruin it for everyone. So we're going to fix that. Last week, if you recall, we announced the TikTok challenge. So if you guys could post that in the main chat, that'd be awesome. So the TikTok winner goes out to Metal Melts. He made a super cool video of custom gold brick in Emax. So we'll be sending them 1 billion Emax tokens for their video submission. But it's super cool. It's posted in the chat now. Dude legitimately made a gold brick, copper brick, technically. He's making the brick now. It's hot. Sanding it down. My man is stamping Emax into this. I'm gonna still call it a gold brick. This gold brick. So that's how he holds it. That's how he's a hodler for Emax, which is pretty amazing. So kudos to the community for submitting everything. It was super fun watching a lot of them. That one definitely, we thought was super creative, very specific, very time intensive, and congratulations. So Gio, as last week we promised that it was a suggestion from the community, which was great. We locked our wallets a while ago, the 16 of them, but we never actually posted on our website. So that was a great suggestion that came out of the community. We did that last week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a step we wanted to take. We know we had heard that desire kind of from day one, and we always wanted to lock. I always said we just wanted to kind of finalize a bit of our marketing budget and things like that. To be able to grow the way we have, and I think with all the relationships we were able to form, whether they be vendor relationships, whether they be just kind of from an influencer and marketing perspective, I think all those dollars are really, going to start to bear some of the fruit as we kind of announce some of the new things we're rolling out with over the coming kind of weeks here. I think that's very exciting, and that the last step, once we were able to finalize kind of getting everything in that budget, in that wallet, was being able to lock the wallets and kind of post the detail around that on the chain, which I think is exciting for everybody. And that's just yet another step in the evolution of of what we're becoming here.
Awesome. Then last week we asked the community to provide suggestions for who they wanted Emax to interview live. So we provided just thought starters, everything from influencers, sports stars, crypto influencers, and more. And we received some great suggestions so far. It's been out for less than a week, and we're happy with how many we've got so far. Where the community can certainly add a lot of value is if you have a direct or secondary connection to a suggested interviewee, just let us know who that person is, who the contact is, because that would be super helpful in terms of speeding up the process and making the interview a reality for our community. Then we've been receiving a lot of amazing responses so far from our businesses around the world that want to take Emax as a form of payment. Being that we have such a supportive community, we wanted to do our part to keep our ecosystem lively. So each week this is something new that we're starting. Each week we'll be announcing the Emax Business of the Week, a business from around the world who is taking steps to be competitive in their industry and trying to stand out from the competition. And this is in part by deciding to take Emax as their cryptocurrency of choice for payment. So you'll be seeing us promoting this across our various social platforms and also on Telegram. So our very first one, which we're super excited about, is a brewery out of the United Kingdom. So located on the edge of Berkshire, west of Newbury, Two Cocks Brewery has been brewing award-winning handcrafted traditional ale since 2011. Established on what was once the Roundhead Reserve's encampment during the English Civil War. Their range of ales bear names that serve as a reminder in the high-tech world. We did some research on them. Super cool company, super cool brewery. They have a lot of things in the works. You'll be seeing us also promoting their socials on our platforms as well. Gio, I know you're super involved with businesses and getting payment processing underway. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think just that's great. And it shows how many. I think members of our community have reached out with very interesting, potential partnerships, and just the ability, to accept Emax and to continue to kind of spread that across a whole variety of industries. And I think that's very exciting. In addition to everything we've kind of grown through some of the relationships we formed early on, and are now going to be able to start rolling those out. We very highly encourage everybody to continue to reach out if there is an opportunity, from a member of the community or somebody they know. We obviously are looking to kind of grow in all ways that make sense for both us and the community and the entire project as a whole. So I think that there's been a pouring of support, I think, from members and people that they know that want to get involved with the program. And it's been great. It's to the point where there's so many relationships out there that we're just trying to kind of approach them one at a time. But I think a lot of really great stuff to come and announcements of all those relationships. And as we really start rolling these things out, I think we're going to start to see a lot of the value really start to come back into the ecosystem. And I think that's an exciting kind of piece of it. I mean, I know Steve and I actually were just talking last week with a group that had an opportunity for a relationship that we're continuing to explore. So yeah, I think just the support's been great. Guys, keep it up. And we're working hard behind the scenes just to kind of line all those relationships up and start announcing them and start putting them into use.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about the new weekly business of the week. I think that's going to be very symbiotic for our community. So excited about that. Just quickly touching upon, last week we mentioned we're going to be doing AMAs on Reddit, which are text-based. We are still going to be doing those, and Justin will also be involved, so just keep a lookout for those. We'll certainly make an announcement when that's live. merch store update, because people keep asking about that. We are in the process of finalizing some designs to choose from. So we will have a core set of designs for t-shirts, sweatshirts, things of that nature, which will be shared with the community this week, just in terms of getting their feedback in terms of which ones they think should actually go to print. Something cool that we want to do, and also for the community, is we want the community to submit intro music for Ethereum Max's weekly AMA shows, as well as interviews. We thought it'd be cool if we had quick intro music that would be nice to start the show, like 10 seconds, something simple like ESPN, Jeopardy, nothing crazy, just intro music that's very memorable. So if you know any producers out there, artists, people who are into music, we're looking for something short, catchy, and memorable to introduce Emax on a weekly basis. If you do have a track that you want to send to us, please email it to music@EthereumMax.org. We'll be posting something on that later, but please email it to music@EthereumMax.org. Cool. So let's get into part of our tech talk with Justin, and I know Gio will also be contributing as well. So Justin, let's talk about the upcoming update with Ethereum. There's something being rolled out called 1559. To my understanding, it's a proposal to make Ethereum transactions more efficient by using a hybrid system of base fees and tips, to how I understand it, just to more evenly incentivize miners through up and down congestion of the network. So I guess in short, where does that fit into the overall ecosystem, and how does that impact Ethereum Max?
Well, at this point, it's more than a proposal. It's scheduled to go live on the mainnet in about 30 days. On the testnet so far, on average, it's burning around, I think, 90,000 Ethereum per week, and that's just on the testnet with the testnet usage. So,
you said 90,000?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Ethereum's going to become a lot more scarce. It's basically going from being inflationary to, well, let's say it's basically going to be 80% of what it used to be. They call it the triple halvening. So, ETH is going to be a lot more scarce. I'm not sure of the exact numbers. I think it's around 80% or something like that. But basically, yeah. So Ethereum is going to be a lot more scarce. And number one most important thing that Emax will gain from this is hopefully reduced gas costs. So with the Emax contract and the way the tokenomics work, there's a lot of different functions that are built into the contract. And what these functions do when the contract is called upon is they'll increase the gas cost, because the Ethereum network has to process more transactions from the contract. So we're guessing anywhere between 30 and 40% gas cost reduction due to EIP 1559. And, that should help holders that are making, payments with Emax, or making transactions with Emax, staking it, pulling it in and out of staking situations and things like that. And I know those things aren't live yet, but we're actively thinking about, how that will happen in the future, and what the gas cost burden will be like to our users.
Cool. So I didn't know they were burning that much. So it's part of the benefit. Also, the gas fees are going to be reduced for Emax holders.
Yep. For sure. Any contract that calls on the Ethereum network to execute it will benefit from EIP 1559. And obviously, Ethereum Max is paired with Ethereum as well. So when this happens and Ethereum's price inevitably goes up, Emax price will raise as well.
Awesome. Cool. So last week we updated our 6x3 tokenomics. It went live, which is super exciting. The feedback on Friday and all through the weekend was, really positive. So, I think the Emax community is appreciative for that. So can you tell us a little bit more about the process, what the community can expect, next moves, what else, people are thinking?
Yeah. So the tokenomics originally just started with the 6% reflection, which is good, but I think that there's a ton of Emax out there, and it's not going to hurt to get a little bit burned on every transaction. So it rewards long-term holders of the token. So getting that done was a good move forward. I think that we can still work on the tokenomics a bit to make sure that we have some Emax to play around with if we want to do a staking solution, or if we want to increase our liquidity. We can have some auto liquidity locking features in the tokenomics. I think we just really need to nail down what we're going to do in the future to make sure that the tokenomics that we choose now don't have an effect on our long-term goals.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is a weekly conversation that we all have. This is a long-term project, so we're very mindful that the decisions we make today are going to affect us tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's you got to be forward-looking, and crypto moves really, really fast. I mean, Emax is only 6 weeks old. There's really not much that you can get done in that amount of time. There's so many moving parts to this space, and things that need to be connected together, and people that need to be introduced, and that's all on the social aspect of it. That's not even technically speaking for development. And crypto is very development intensive because not only are we doing back end work that involves data structures, as well as that integrating to the blockchain, which there are very few good developers for, but all of that has to be pushed to front end infrastructure as well. So development is not cheap. It's not fast, but we're committed to the long term vision of this project, and we're going to do that.
Awesome. So
yeah. I just wanted to add in there, Steve, and that's a great point that Justin's making. I mean, look, guys, we obviously want to come out with, with everything that, the community's asking for, and get the white paper done, and do everything that, is going to help us kind of just push everything forward. It just takes time. And obviously we are, as Steve and Justin have both kind of, said here, everything we do today, we want to make sure that lasts, for the foreseeable future, given that, we have a long longevity on this. We see this for the future, and we, every step we're making is not so something is okay for now, and we're going to have to answer questions later. We're trying to do everything, up front, so that this does have the longevity, and we don't have to keep switching things around. And that just, like Justin's saying, it takes some time, but I think everybody who's sticking with us is going to see in the end that that taking a little bit of time up front is a much, is a very worthwhile investment for given the longevity of the project and of the community. So it's everything, we hear, everybody's thoughts and what everybody's looking for. Believe me, our priority list, is aligned, and we're just doing everything to make sure what we do today, lasts for time, and is not something where we have to keep scrambling. So we hear the wants, desires, and believe me, we're right there with you, and we promise we're gonna make good on all that stuff. Just take some time.
Yeah, I mean, the scope of this project is massive, to say the least. If doing a blockchain-based payment processing solution was easy, it would already be mainstream. It would already be out there. This is not a developmentally easy undertaking that we're doing here. So it's going to take time to put everything in place that needs to be in place. Remember, this token is only a little bit over a month old. The community is only a little bit over a month old. So, just plan for the long term, because the pieces are in place now for the people to come together and do the things that they need to do to make everything that Emax has in store to become a reality. And we're going to get to work.
Words of wisdom. I love it.
Very well.
Long term. We're here for the while. Shit ain't easy. I like it. Wisdom. Spitting truth. So on the heels of that, so what would you say what is the status? Not what you say. What is the status of the security certificate in audit? I know there's a holdup. Where are we here now that we submitted our tokenomics were submitted last week, deployed?
So I think that certic is pretty backed up right now. I think they're getting for my own project, I'm still waiting for stuff for audits to come through for our token bridge and things like that. They're getting hundreds of audit requests a week. they're backed up, and I think it's just going to take a little bit longer to get everything done on their side, and that's not really anything that we can rush. So it'll be ready, but I think the most important thing to think about is the tokenomics. You can read the contract. It's pretty simple. Like, even if you just do a little bit of developmental research, you can see that the tokenomics are pretty basic functions, and like really the things that need to be audited will be products that we're putting online that are going to be holding on to people's money. That was loud.
Not sure what's up.
I think we should really worry about the audit, like, for, say we release a staking mechanism that's going to actually be holding funds. Now, that would be something that I would consider an urgent audit request for. Not that the token isn't important, but it's pretty much the exact same thing as that came before it, that the audit was already released for. So I mean, the token contract itself is completely safe, and really you guys don't need to worry too much about that. I can give you my word on that one. But I'm building a stronger connection with the Certic team as well, and so I'll be pushing forward for getting our stuff done quicker. Did we lose our host?
Yeah, it looks like. Well, I see Steve's still on, but
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Steve. Perfect.
Okay. Each week I want to talk to myself for a little bit. It just makes me feel good about myself.
Exactly.
But part of that, Justin, like we were speaking about this weekend, was a big checkbox was the fact that we were able to deploy our tokenomics. I know we were waiting for that, or Certic was waiting for that, in terms of submitting, I guess, a box with a bow on it. Correct?
Yeah. So we couldn't really fully submit the contracts that we needed to submit without having the new tokenomics included into that. So, which they're done now and they're ready. So it won't be long.
Nice. Cool. So into that, one of the questions from the community was, why is the roadmap no longer on the website, and what is the plan with that in general?
Yeah, so, I mean, when I came into this, we sort of needed to restructure the order of operations, so to speak, that we're fundamentally building the project on. So the roadmap is just going to be readjusted. It shouldn't be too long until we have something concrete for you guys. We'll be meeting up with the team in person soon, so we can get everything down on paper, get all of our thoughts and ideas. I think it's a lot easier to communicate in person than it is over phone calls and Zoom meetings. So it's just easier to convey emotion and information that way. So I'm really looking forward to sitting down with everybody and getting in the same room and really getting the high-end version of this roadmap laid out so that we can get it to our designers and get it back up on the website ASAP.
Thanks.
Yeah, and to that point, kind of like we were talking about before, obviously with the white paper, and the roadmap kind of feeds that. We've been able to grow and have all these different, reach out, have all these different relationships, and it's spurring on so many more ideas of how we can do things better than we were even thinking maybe initially of kind of launching with. And I think that has taken and created the need to really take a look at the roadmap and make sure it's all encompassing for all the additional opportunities that I think we've been able to come up with and potentially reach here. So that is something that is an absolute priority. Like Justin's saying, we'll sit down, we'll make sure that all of our thoughts are on kind of one full list, and we'll get that out, and that'll help drive the white paper, and we'll be able to be off and running here. So it's an exciting time. Tons of different directions and opportunity here, and we're going to get it all out, and we're going to get everything going.
And if you guys couldn't tell, we're sort of being cryptic on purpose about the new developments, because we really want to get them fleshed out and as detailed as possible before we get them to you. So if it sounds like we're holding back information, we kind of are, but we just want to make sure that everything gets to you in a well-processed way and as detailed as possible.
Crypto and cryptic and crypto, you don't say.
You like that?
So, which is, a very fitting next question. So what is the status of our white paper? I know we've only been around for 6 weeks, but it's something that the community has been, chomping at the bit, for lack of a better term, for.
Yeah, it's sort of segue from our last topic. We kind of need to have the order of operations laid out before we can get into the technical details that will come with a white paper or light paper, whatever you want to call it. That will come. We just need more time. I mean, I hate to keep telling you guys, that we need more time, but 6 weeks just isn't enough to put a plan of this scale into any kind of discernible motion. We get the tokenomics done, we can get the community formed, we can do marketing stuff, but when it comes to back-end development for this kind of product that we plan on releasing, it's just going to take a little bit longer. And this roadmap and subsequently the white paper after that should have everything that you need to understand what Ethereum Max will be.
Exciting stuff. All right, next we have one of my favorite sections. We just started implementing this a couple weeks ago, but we have voice questions submitted from our community. So before we get started, these have been going really, really well. I mean, we have a lot to go through, not necessarily on this call, just internally. But listen, keep them coming. We think, we love the feedback. We think they're great. Let's get into it. This one is from William H.
My question is simple. I would like to incorporate this into e-commerce for my website and offer this as a solution for others, for musicians and, designers. Also, brick and mortar stores. And another thing is, with video game development, I would also like to use this for the web store and for people to be able to purchase the digital download of my game. How would that work?
Yeah, so I think all of what he just said was encompassing what Ethereum Max intends to be, which is a payment processing solution, a blockchain-based payment processing solution. So we are working towards making the usability of that product a lot easier to integrate in with websites or with mobile apps that could accept Emax for payment. Unfortunately, there are a lot of complexities that come with making a system like that usable to the end consumer. So we're going to be working on some things that are going to make transactions a lot cheaper and a lot faster, a lot more efficient overall for our end user. So we'll get there in time. That is a part of our main goal.
Cool. Gio, you got anything to add to that? I know you're super involved with the payment processing aspect.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we're working with a number of vendors and obviously encourage, all members of the community, if there is an opportunity to reach out. We have the channels. I think, we can provide those again as far as how to reach out, to present those opportunities, and we'll look at them one by one. Everything we're working on kind of in the back end is to be able to support scalable payment processing utility across the whole ecosystem. So we've released it in pockets and in promotional I think events to this point, which we're a little bit more controlled. But I think in the future state, as Justin mentioned, we are planning for this thing to be a much more scalable option and to be used across a variety of different capacities and different lines. So I think that's all very exciting. We're all kind of working in that back end to make sure we have the infrastructure to support all of that. So we definitely want to continue to hear. So thank you so much for the question, and we'll definitely love to be in touch on your individual situation and how best to put that into motion.
Cool. And Gio, we got this question from Twitch live. It's probably more fitting now. They just wanted to know if we are still in active talks with the folks down at Live, and pretty much that's it. Just that we're it's still on our radar. And how's that going without giving away too much info, if there is info?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think when we kind of took a pause, it was more based on just the technology integration. I think everybody saw the giant step forward we took, just to say, from the Floyd website where you were able to purchase tickets for that fight versus the Gervonta Davis website. We had a much more fully integrated payment processing interface. That was able to be integrated into that website, and it's that technology that we're working with. With all the vendors that we're working with right now, including the relationships that we kind of put on hold, not only for our own technology to grow, but just to be able to kind of fully integrate with them, because like I mentioned, this isn't something we just want to do on a one-time kind of promotional use. We want this to be an all-encompassing solution that is really representative of the type of technology that we're building here, and I think just where we were at versus where we are now is kind of light years apart, and we're definitely working with all of the vendors, including that specific relationship that we were previously working with, to kind of get put in place and move forward. So no real timeline as of yet right now. But you can rest assured we're working on all of that. We're making sure that our infrastructure, when it is set to launch, and it's going to be able to support those relationships, and it's going to be able to be scalable. So all of those things are being worked on as we speak.
Awesome, good to hear. Our next question from the community came from Baby Trillionaire.
My question is just concerning the 333 thing that's supposed to be implemented. Obviously, we know there's some issues with liquidity, and that's why our price keeps dropping. So is there still plans to do that?
I don't think the lack of liquidity is why the price keeps dropping. I think that we kind of just went through a 60% crypto crash in general. And that if people aren't willing to buy Ethereum and Bitcoin, then they're probably not going to be willing to buy smaller projects. So I'd say that the price drop was more due to the market conditions than lack of liquidity, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to do anything to try to increase our liquidity. As far as the 333 tokenomics goes, we've sort of changed that now to a 6.3, but it's it could be changed. There are functions that could auto lock some liquidity to increase the long-term liquidity provision for Emax. We could do like a 1% auto lock, which would basically over the long term create a price floor for the token and create stability. But I think it's a stretch to say that the Emax price has fallen recently because of the lack of liquidity. I think it's more overall market conditions.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I'd say just the where we've landed from a liquidity position is partially due to some of the price drop, and as Stephen mentions, there's been some macro pressure on the entire crypto space. It's really been a story of really since we've launched. I mean, the 5th, 6th, and 7th day in existence since launch, we went through a 3-day stretch where Bitcoin was down 55%, Ethereum was down almost 60%, just in that 3-day stretch alone. And there was rebound, and obviously recently we've had another bit of a tail off, although now we're starting to see some signs of the overall market strengthening. But as we grow, and I think as the market really gets more accustomed to our long-term vision, which I think is a bit of in some circumstances an anomaly in the space. I think obviously we're doing everything to kind of build value here, and as Justin mentioned, there are certain mechanisms that we're thinking about that can help fortify the liquidity position and just the the value alone that we're looking to drive will also, we'll just add to the liquidity pool and that organically. So that's kind of what we're.
That's the big thing, is that you can't rely on having, some massive liquidity pool to hold your token up in case people want to sell. We actually have to create value for our end user. So that's, the long-term goal is to make Ethereum Max an actual viable mainstream product in the world, not just in the blockchain community. So, hopefully when this volatile market does correct, that we're not as subject to its throws, basically.
Yeah, great point. Yeah.
Lots of gems of information. Hope everyone's reading between the lines and listening very closely. It's a lot of good stuff tonight. Our next one comes from Estevan G.
With cryptocurrency not being a legal tender and your businesses accept Emax as payment, the only obvious outcome is to sell for their native fiat. What are you guys doing to offset the sales for investors?
We're building out a real product. We want to make Ethereum Max more holdable than the US dollar. Once Ethereum Max is increasing at a higher rate than the US dollar, there's no reason for anyone to convert their Ethereum Max into the US dollar if it's going to appreciate against it higher. So that comes along with what I just said about adding real value to the product, to the Ethereum Max community, to the end holders. If we sell, or if we process payments for vendors and then the vendors want to sell their Emax, but then they realize that 3 months later that they should have held the Emax instead of paying with the US dollars for their merchandise or whatever, that is an evolution of a long-term gain for us. Because eventually these vendors that we go through for payment processing will understand that it's more beneficial for them to pay out of their pocket in fiat and hold on to their Ethereum Max payments that they get.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, we're building out infrastructure structurally, to actually facilitate those payments where that Emax that enters into the ecosystem that is then used for those payments, is held and is something that people are holding on to, whether by the vendor directly, as Justin mentions, or whether within the ecosystem, within structures that we're looking to create. So, I think we believe that that's one of the biggest pieces to kind of work around, just because the creation and the addition of that new Emax that's being used for payments, coming into the ecosystem, obviously will have a volatile effect on the price if it just goes directly out. And I think we have a couple solutions for that we're still building out. And, I think ultimately, to Justin's point, if we create Emax into a more stable coin that has the upside, that is appreciating, relative to fiat, it's going to become a natural thing that people are going to want to hold, as opposed to just immediate conversion out. And that's an evolution that we even seen like in situations with even Bitcoin, which is used as a means of transacting, and other spaces that Bitcoin or whatever else it may be is actually being held due to its price relative to fiat. So it's all stuff we're working on. We understand, we obviously do not want to create volatility, and we think we have some solutions around preventing that.
Yeah, think about it. Tesla accepts they did accept Bitcoin for cars for a time, but any Bitcoin that they took in for their vehicles, it's not like they were saying, oh, we've got to go back to the steel manufacturer and pay this in Emax, or I'm sorry, pay this in Bitcoin. No, they're just holding on to the Bitcoin and paying in their fiat currency for whatever they did, because they know that the Bitcoin has a higher likelihood to appreciate than the US dollar does. So it makes no sense to not hold it.
Yeah, in part, it's like a business strategy.
Yep, it'll be a business strategy. And if Emax really has value, then obviously we'll appreciate faster than the US dollar does, because the only thing the US dollar does is go down.
You're here first. We're coming after you, US dollar. Coming after you, Emax. All right, so now we have a two-part question. So we've been getting some repetitive questions, and what we tried to do in that case is one ask the most detailed one, or in this case, we're going to ask two back-to-back. So this is one of two.
Hi team, my name is Rashid. I'm from Paris in France. My question is, you are doing great things, new features, marketing goals, etc. Why don't you give priority to writing a white paper when strategically this allows you to first define precisely the objectives of a project and to win investor confidence? Thank you.
Okay, now we got two of two.
What's going on, guys? This is Scott G with the Never Hedge podcast, and I have a question regarding when do you guys think the white papers and coin audit will be done? If you guys can get to this on the white papers, I know you guys are working pretty hard, but got a lot of people wondering about the status of those two things. So if you could get to those, that would be great. Thanks so much. I'll be listening tomorrow.
We kind of discussed the audit situation in the first question. We're mostly just trying to build our relationships out with the guys at Certic and make sure that we're priority for getting the audit done. Unfortunately, we can't push them any harder than we're trying to. We don't want to ruin the relationship, so we understand they're busy, and we'll let them get to that. As far as the other part of the question about the white paper, both people, again, we're 6 weeks into this, guys, and we're trying to bring together like 3 or 4 different worlds into this project that are going to need to coalesce to be able to make this thing happen. So we're bringing together a marketing team, we're bringing together a back-end development team, we're bringing together a front-end development team, and we're bringing together community development, as well as all of the other things that go into the relationships, the vendor partnerships, the event partnerships. All of these things are massive undertakings that are going to just simply take longer than 6 weeks to lay out into a cohesive roadmap. And then from a cohesive roadmap, then we can structurally tear that down and put that into detail in a white paper.
Nice. Certainly a lot of long-term vision conversations tonight, which is great. Next one is, first of all, I just want to say on the side, I love all the internationalness that we're getting from our community. You guys are amazing. Keep up the great work. I mean, we are literally touching every part of the world, so I love it. Here's our next one from Paul C. in the UK.
Hi, I was just wondering what your plans are to increase liquidity. Obviously, at the moment, liquidity is very low for such a big project, and I just wondered if you have any short-term plans to increase it, and maybe changing some of the distribution to liquidity rather than to the holders. Thank you.
I think he brings up a fair point. I mean, if liquidity is an issue and the people that are getting the reflections aren't helping hold up the liquidity pool, that does create sort of an incentive problem. I think the liquidity fell because the overall market, fell, to such a great extent that people were questioning whether, crypto was headed for another 3 year bear market or not. So I think that's the main reason that liquidity was pulled. But I think also that the community needs to step up and put some money into the liquidity pool and earn some fees on the trades that are going down.
Yeah, and then, just to add, I think, some of the value that we expect to really drive with some of these next steps that we'll be coming out with, and announcements and things that we're working on to really show the market, our community, and everybody that, we are actually kind of following through with some of the things we've been saying, and we're establishing very meaningful relationships that are going to be very valuable, to the token, to the community, to everything that we're trying to drive here. I think that will naturally also help support the liquidity. I know Justin mentioned some of the stuff that we're thinking about around staking and things like that. That's definitely part of it that I think helps just help solidify the overall kind of like holder distribution and what we're doing moving forward, as far as, kind of having more of those tokens that just kind of form a base. So I think all of these things organically are going to help, as Justin mentioned, as the market, will hopefully kind of come out of some of this flight from the space in general, from a capital perspective. That will help. And we're looking at a number of other ways of partnerships that help us in that capacity. So we're aware of that and doing everything possible to just kind of drive this forward from a value creation perspective, and just putting the right strategic partnerships in place that help support that.
And I think that we can possibly consider doing something from the tokenomics as well. I mean, if we have a really high reflection rate, I'd say, especially for an Ethereum token. So I think that if these reflections aren't incentivizing the community enough to go and put back into the liquidity pool, then maybe we should cut the reflections and have it automatically locked to liquidity to make sure that Emax is safe long term and is stable long term.
Yeah, that's.
I think you moved up there, Gia.
Gotcha.
All right. We will move on to our next question. This one comes from Theo.
Can you guys talk about your background? What did you guys do before Ethereum Max? Were you guys involved in the crypto space prior? Were you guys involved in the financial field? Specifically, your, resumes? And I have a final question. What are you guys going to do to combat the whale dumps and to bring stability to the coin?
Well, kind of gave my introduction earlier at the beginning, but founder of a blockchain development company, project lead at a 0 to 100 meme coin. Also actively developing other projects for automated market makers on other blockchains, developing interoperability between blockchains. That's my experience. As far as combating whales, there's not a really good solution, I'll be frank. The best solution is to increase the token value so the whales who are paper hands can sell their tokens, and then we can have more distributed token holders. That's the ultimate goal, is to sort of, make the token go up in price so that eventually all of this distribution that's held more centrally by bigger wallets, they take their profit, they got in early, sure, but now it's getting distributed and maybe they're the ones selling too early, right?
Sure. Gio, you want to give your background?
Yeah, sorry, you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that before. So yeah, look, guys, I've been, in the hedge fund space for the last 12 years. My background is kind of structuring, securitizations and bespoke financing arrangements and vehicles across a wide, array of products like single-family rental houses, whole loans, reperforming loans, really all different types of products. And I think where that experience is really helping me here and going to help as we kind of move forward is really just structurally. I have structured some very kind of complex transactions that, require a great deal of sequencing. And I know Justin's used the word sequencing a number of times, in this address tonight. And, I think that's really, a very important word because, I think just the order rollout and the order of how we do things and how we sequence things is an extremely important part to how we maximize all everything that we do from here on out. And I think that experience is something that I'm drawing upon, and also just drawing upon from a relationship perspective as we look to grow. So I think it's really an interesting background kind of coming into this space, and I'm not sure that a lot of the other teams have that type of mindset that I think we do from that experience that I'm able to draw on. So I'm excited to continue to use that type of of a background with this project.
Yeah, it's about being efficient, and not only with money but with time. The space is moving so fast that if you're inefficient with, it doesn't really matter about money because money's pouring into the space, so capital isn't as important as time is. But the space is moving so fast that if you're inefficient with your time, that you'll get left in the dust. So that's why he's talking about sequencing right now, order of operations that I had said before. We have to get this nailed down. And, basically once we have done that, that is the majority of the hard part of the job. Just increasing the efficiency level and making sure that we're not being redundant in our actions.
Yeah, and
Gee, I think you cut out again. Telegram keeps on cutting you off on your follow-ups.
Sorry, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So, what I was just going to add to that is, look, the efficiency in which we release things has potentially been an issue kind of in the past. And, I think what we are, really just striving for now is, for everything we do, whether it's an announcement, whether it's, a big vendor relationship, whether it's an announcement of a new utility or how we're going to roll things out, we're just making sure that, everything is sequenced properly in the back end to be able to make that announcement and that rollout, really have the most impact that it can have. And, I think that's something in the past that maybe certain things won't.
Gee, I think you cut out that time. And I've given my background before, but I'll give it again. I am Steve. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have a passion for business. I excel at developing brands and being an intricate part of developing high-performing teams. I specialize in marketing, ideation, business strategies, and sales, from concept to execution. Multitude of projects and industries that I've been involved with, and super excited to be part of developing this high-performing team that we got going on at Emax. Next one is from Ross.
You all had mentioned that Emax would be participating in some charitable contributions. Haven't really seen anything on that in quite a while. Just wanted to ask if that's something that's still planned, and if so, if we could hear anything about it. Thanks.
Could you play that one more time?
Sure.
You all had mentioned that Emax would be participating in some charitable contributions. Haven't really seen anything on that in quite a while. Just wanted to ask if that's something that's still planned, and if so, if we could hear anything about it. Thanks.
Oh yeah, the charity. Yeah, I think it's important. But it's also important that we work with the correct charity who's willing to take the time to understand the crypto space and not just take our donation and immediately market sell it. I don't think that would benefit anybody. I really want to find a charity that is willing to look into our long-term vision and build a long-term partnership with us, and be willing to hold Emax and possibly use it themselves in any way that they can.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, that would. Do you hear me now, Steve?
Yes.
Sorry, I switched to my phone. I'm not down here in Miami. There's the weather is made all access to internet voice lines has been tough. But what I would like to just add to that is we're definitely working on an event that is going to incorporate a charitable cause. It's something that I think hits close to home down here. So I think be on the lookout for that. We'll be announcing. We're very excited for this event. And the charitable component to it. I think the community is gonna see some of the stuff that we're able to kind of give back on. And the things that we really think are important. Given kind of everything that's kind of gone on in the last few weeks. So definitely be on the lookout for some announcements in the near future on that.
Nice. And our last question of the evening from the community is from Evan S.
What is the utility intention for the coin past vendor payments, if anything? And what will be done in the short term to bolster liquidity?
Great question.
I think we've already covered the liquidity in like 3 different questions, but as far as the overall plans for the coin besides being payment processing, Steve, is this something that we want to go into here?
We can go into it briefly from the community knows. I mean, we are deemed as the culture token. We're certainly getting more involved with events, as everyone can see. So there's certainly going to be a strong angle there. Without giving away too much. Without showing too many of our cards. I would say it's certainly with events, lifestyle, entertainment. Above and beyond simply making payments. I think it's going to be a token that's part of your life and lifestyle, enhancing your life.
Yeah, for sure. We want this to bring real utility to our holders, whether that's through an extension of our partnerships that we're able to build and passing on those rewards back to our community, building out these events, and furthering things in the NFT space. There's a ton of things that we're really planning on doing. It's just going to, like I keep saying, this is going to be 6 months to a year-long process of us building, adding, and refining the process that we do.
Yeah, and I think the main piece there is that it's not just going to be a so-called one-trick pony. Like we have plans for a number of different utilities, and all of them will I think be useful and impactful for all of our holders and our entire community. And for that, I think we're truly excited. But, as Justin points out, it's just, to build this entire, ecosystem out, it just takes time. And it's just something that, we're working on. And, we're working on the most efficient ways to kind of structure that. And, I think in time, everybody will start to see some of that rollout. But, we just ask for some patience and hope that everybody who kind of remains through the end is gonna be able to grow with us as we grow as a token, as a community.
And that's the thing, is this is going to be a reward for those who decide to stick around from the early days until when we're finally integrating our end product into real mainstream society. So, crypto, yes, you can get rich quicker than you can in traditional finance. No financial advice, but it's not overnight. It's not in 2 weeks. I know that you guys seen what Emax was capable of doing very quickly at the peak of a bull market cycle, but now the market structure is different. The market sentiment is completely different. So we're seeing what happens when everything isn't completely euphoric. And now it's time to put our heads down and build and deliver on what we're talking about.
Nice. All right, Emax community, that is going to wrap it up for this evening. Just a recap.
Whew. That was a long one tonight, guys. All right, so the new guy they brought on, Justin, was super smart. I was very impressed with him. I think he is going to be a really good addition to the Emax team. And that is definitely going to do it for this one, guys. As always, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more updates on Emax as well as other stocks and tokens we like. And I thank you guys for getting this far into this. I think we're about an hour in, so hopefully this will be uploaded tomorrow, maybe midday. I'll let this thing upload overnight. Anyways, all right, guys. Good night.